सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्. Om. We will see some of the very fundamental topics in Vedanta. And in today's class, we will look at the sadhana called Karma Yoga. Let us be clear about one thing all the time. What is our goal and what is the means? Our goal very clearly is we are here for one purpose only. I'm born as a human being, and with all the opportunities that I have, I'm here for parama purushartha or moksha. About this, we are absolutely clear. The second thing we are clear also about is moksha is possible only through spiritual knowledge or jnanam. This spiritual knowledge is possible only through the help of Guru and Shastra. A Guru is able to teach only a person who is eligible. For example, we train people to become neurosurgeons, but when a person comes to us, they should have a basic qualification. Either he is a MBBS graduate or has had training in general surgery. Only when they have that basic eligibility, then you're able to train them further. So therefore, a guru can train only an eligible person. And for that eligibility, there are certain sadhanas that we are required. That sadhana that is required for eligibility for a student coming to the Guru and Shastra is called Karma Yoga. There are few terms, like when we are entering a new topic, we will come across many new terms. And all these terms, we should be very clear when we use those terms. That means the definition of these terms should be clear. What do you mean by sadhana? What is a sadhyam? Who is a sadhaka? And who is a siddha? A sadhana is a means or a course of discipline that we undertake to accomplish a goal, and the goal is called sadhyam. So the process, the discipline that we take is called sadhana. The goal that we want to achieve is called a sadhyam. The one who is doing this, the one who undertakes this discipline is called a sadhaka. And once you become accomplished, you become a siddha. So therefore, we can say scriptures want us to become sadhakas, to make use of various sadhanas for the accomplishment of that sadhyam or the goal. And once you have that goal, you become a siddha or an accomplished person. What is the sadhana for today's class? The sadhana for today's class is Karma Yoga. Karma means action. From the time we wake up till the time we sleep, we are always doing something or the other. I am in the process of sharing some knowledge. You are in the process of listening. So both of us are doing some form of karma. When does a karma become a yoga? That is what we are going to see about Karma Yoga. So Karma Yoga can be defined as right action and right attitude. The whole purpose of these introductory classes is that one day we will be able to study the scriptures. And in the scriptures, particularly the most exciting of them all is the Bhagavad Gita. And the third chapter of the Bhagavad Gita is entirely devoted to Karma Yoga. Of course, it is there in the second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and to some extent on the in other chapters also. Now, once we have studied these fundamentals and we go to the Gita, supposing I say chapter 2, verse 47, chapter 3, verse 20, then a student is immediately able to appreciate what these things are. Karma or action, when it is done as a yoga, can promote spiritual growth. And for that, we need to have a classification of what is called a right action. Action can be classified as Sathwik, Rajasic, and Tamasic based on the benefits for myself and for others. If the action that I do benefits me, but benefits also That means it is a selfless task. It is called a Satvika karma. If it benefits me and my family alone and not others, it is Rajasic. If it benefits me but harms others, that sort of an action is called a Tamasic action. So in Karma Yoga, the action should be that which benefits more number of people. That means it should be predominantly Sathwik, less of Rajasic, and we should avoid Tamasic. And this is first part of karma. That means it is a right action. Action can be taken place in three parts. Again, we should be familiar with these terms which refer to the action that happens in my body, in my speech, and in my thought. When action happens in the body, it is called kayika. In the speech, it is vachasa. And when the action is happening in the form of thought, for example, you're listening, and the action is called manasa. So what is right action in summary? Once again, whatever I do should be sattvic. It should benefit a lot of people. Every action that I do, see if I can convert it into a sadhana. It may mean action that I have to take care of my own body. We can call it, this body is a gift from the Lord, and therefore when I give the bath to this body, when I dress this body, when I give rest to the body, when I eat food, all these can be taken as a sadhana, and we can call that Atma Puja. The ultimate is all our actions in thought, word, and deed can become sublime if they are converted into a yoga when we see it in the form of right action. And second is what is called the right attitude. The right attitude is of two types. The first is called Ishvara Arpan. Whatever action that I do it as an offering to God. Whenever you do it for somebody whom you have such great regards for, like a guru or for God, then how is those actions? You give your very best. The action is going to be 100%. We enjoy whatever we do. And whenever the action is something that you enjoy, we may run around and do it, but it is for us effortless. And because we are so committed and enjoyed, there is no sense of time. We are in timelessness or in eternity. Remember, when there is this attitude of Ishvara Arpana, remember, I'm not doing anybody a favor. In fact, the Lord or my guru or someone whom I love is giving me an opportunity to serve him or her. And therefore, the joy is intrinsic. And one more word, which is not strictly an English word, but you will understand, there is no sense of doership. There is no sense of, I am doing this. All this constitutes what is called Ishvara Arpana. The second is called, let me elaborate a little more on right attitude. This title should be right attitude and not right action. One nice example given by Swami Anubhavanandaji is called the RAC example. RAC means, supposing you have got a railway ticket which is confirmed under RAC, means you will be allowed to travel, but there is a high possibility that you may have to travel sitting unless there is a cancellation. This is called a reservation against cancellation. Those who have got confirmed seats with berths will be using these berths that you can see. And those who are on RAC are sitting on the corner on a small chair, and there is a 50% possibility that they may or may not get a berth. Now, just see the attitude of these two types of passengers when the ticket collector comes. Those who have confirmed berths have very little attention. They may not even pay attention. They just show the ticket to the ticket collector to say that I have a confirmed seat. Whereas those of us who are on the RAC category will immediately spring up when we see the TT. We address him very nicely. We speak to him with the hope that he is able to allot a seat for us. Now, you just see, whenever it is my need, you are naturally nice. Whenever you think you're doing somebody a favor, there is a sense of ego or there is an ahankara in your action. Now, this is what is called the right attitude towards action. Mahatma Gandhi in South Africa, in one of his publications, has written, and which has been quoted everywhere as on the customer. And those of us who are in healthcare, I have changed the customer to a patient. Let us see how we are supposed to treat a patient from the attitude of a karma yoga. When I give a lot of importance to the patient, and when I see that I'm not doing a favor to the patient, in fact, he's doing me a favor by creating the doctor in me. If there is no patient, then your medical knowledge is of no use. The patient is the most important person in a medical center. He is not dependent on us. We are dependent on him. He is not an interruption of our work. He is the purpose of it. He is not an outsider of our business. He is a part of it. We are not doing him a favor by serving him. He is doing us a favor. He is doing us a favor by giving us an opportunity to do so. Now, this is the attitude of no sense of doership, and it is from my need. Secondly, I spoke about right action. Now, right action involves what is called Pancha maha yajna. Swamiji repeatedly emphasizes on a karma yogi should bring in the Pancha maha yajna every day as part of his actions. Whenever we do the Pancha maha yajna for busy people, it looks like a waste of time. Now, what are this Pancha maha yajna? Spend some time every day in prayerful worship. That is called deva yajna. And a student gradually will spend more and more time in his prayer room, in a temple, doing certain regular forms of prayers, and that is called deva yajna. What we are doing right now, the scriptural study, is called Brahma yajna. Every day, do some form of scriptural studies. And when you do Brahma yajna every day, it is part of Pancha maha yajna. Service do I do for the elders of my family, my parents, or anybody elderly in the community. When I go out of the way to serve the elderly or those of my family elders, that is called pitru yajna. When I go out of the way to serve a fellow human being, that is called manushya yajna. And then there is the care that we give for our environment, plants, and the world around me. That is called bootha yajna. A student of karma yoga will keep aside some time every day, which may look like time wasters for busy people, and that is called Pancha Mahayajna. This is part of right attitude. Right action. So karma yoga is right attitude and uh, right action and right attitude. Right attitude is of two types. It is called Ishwararpana Bhava. I've already spoken about that. Whatever action I do it as an offering to God. And whenever you do any action, the moment we do an action, this action is delivered into the universe. And it will come back to me in a processed form as my karma. That means there will be a result of my action. And sometimes the result of my action would be encouraging, sometimes it may be discouraging. Now, how do I accept these results? And Swamiji calls it called Prasada Buddhi. Now, whenever we go to a place of worship and we get Prasada, how do we receive it? Very reverentially. Can I receive the feedback or the remuneration that I get for my actions as I receive a prasada? I will not compare it with anybody else. I will accept it with gratefulness. And if I'm able to do the right action and the right attitude, that becomes karma yoga. And in the Bhagavad Gita, especially in the 3rd chapter, verse 20, Sri Krishna is able to very poetically, and that is why you will see the greatness in the Bhagavad Gita. Each of these verses will tell you everything that I have already said in a very poetic way, Mai sarvani karmani sanyasadhyatya chetasa. Nirashir nirmamo bhutva yudhyasya vigata jvaraha. Certainly, a time will come when we will know the meaning of each of these words. Now, to elaborate a little further, I have already told you that Karma Yoga is a sadhana. A sadhana is to achieve a certain objective. What is that objective? Jnana Yoga is the only means for liberation. For Jnana Yoga, Jnana Yogyatha is required. And Jnana Yogyatha is acquired through Karma Yoga. So a few nice slogans. Nara Seva is Narayana Seva. Manava Seva is Madhava Seva. I will elaborate a little later on what is this avidya, kama, and karma. What are the benefits of being a karma yogi? Now, in contrast to karma, you are looking at what material benefits I get. But on the other hand, when you are a karma yogi, the material benefits is only a byproduct. In either way, because there is an inner growth which happens irrespective of material growth. That means whether my work succeeds financially or not, I stand to gain if I make it a karma yoga. How? Now, there are three important qualifications. In the subsequent class, we will touch more on viveka, vairagya, mokshutvam. Three of the four qualifications become possible through Karma Yoga. Now, certain prioritization becomes easy. What is the prioritization? Normally, we focus on artha and kama among the puruashtras. A Karma Yogi focuses on dharma and moksha. Few things are important. Desire alone for moksha is not enough. I need a certain amount of punyam, and that punyam will bring a conducive environment. That punya helps me to find a guru, and because of the guru, I will be able to progress further. Proceeding, Karma Yoga as a sadhana. What is my sadhyam? Jnana Yogyatha and Chitta Shuddhi. All our actions without exception should be spiritual. That means it should be a yoga. That means every mundane activity, I should convert it into a yoga. And how do we do it? Now, I may be driving to work. Even before I start to drive, I begin with a prayer. When I conclude with a prayer. So a sadhana does not come to the end when I finish with the prayer room. It continues throughout the day because we have a prayerful attitude. Now, the question is Karma Yoga easy or difficult? It depends. If I'm able to do more and more Sathwik activity, less and less Rajasic and Tamasic. Second is, what is Ishvara Prasada Buddhi? This is something that I have to train. Whatever I get as the result of my actions, if I can accept it joyfully and cheerfully, this is what makes Karma Yoga a difficult sadhana. That I should be able to have Ishvara Prasada. Second is, when my love for the Lord is so much and I can see every action that I do is an offering to God, then it becomes gratefulness, awareness of this attitude. Whatever I do, I will do it 100%. A karma yogi has zero complaints. He cannot complain because he is enjoying whatever he does. I will touch on these gunas for a particular reason. We should know what is sattva, what is rajas, and what is tamas. I spoke about this in the context of karma yoga. Now, I have to touch two more topics that is called varna and ashrama before we proceed. Now, whatever is sattva guna is of the nature of clarity, purity, knowledge, inspiration, peace, contentment, harmony, and order. These are all the lakshana of sattva. Whereas a Rajasic person is full of activity. He's driven with passion. There is activity, there is motion, there is creativity, there is force. On the other hand, a Tamasic nature is the nature of dullness, apathy, laziness, and ignorance. Now, based on this, there is the classification of the society into the 4 Varnas: Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra. Shri Krishna very clearly says, I have created these Varnas based on guna and karma. That means what activity your karma is based on your guna. Those who are predominantly spiritually oriented come under the classification of Brahmana. A selflessly dynamic person is a Kshatriya. A selfishly motivated, active person is a Vaishya, whereas a lethargic person is a Shudra. This is the verse in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, verse 13. Chatur varna maya shrishtam guna karma vibhagashaha. So clearly Krishna mentions it, and so unfairly Hinduism is criticized for the contamination that happened about the 4 varnas based on birth or jati, but not based on guna. The last topic I have to touch today's class is about ashrama. Now, in order to achieve our purushartha, all of us are supposed to go through 4 ashramas. In the first part of our life is focused on studies. The next part is the life of a householder called a Gṛihastha, where artha and kama purusharthas are entertained. Then comes a certain stage when you prepare for sannyasa, which is called Vanaprastha. And finally, it is recommended that all of us become mental sannyasis, even if you are not a vividisha sannyasi, not a vividly sannyasi. Now, today, the opportunity to be a Vanaprastha looks very difficult, and somebody asked Swamiji this question: how can I be a Vanaprastha? And Swamiji gives a very brilliant suggestion. He says, those of us in the Vanaprastha stage should see how you can be a guest in your own home. When you are a guest in your own home, you will contribute whatever you can do to the house, but then you do not complain, you do not demand. If something is not okay, if the food is late, you do not demand, or you do not make any criticism on the food. If there is some dispute or something going on, you're not going to be involved unless they ask for your intervention. So do whatever you can as a guest in your house, but see yourself in that role where you gradually withdraw from all these activities. And that is how we can become a Vanaprastha.